joining us right now. We love talking to Chuck Thies. He's a D.C. political analyst. He knows what's going on with the D.C. Council and the way this city works. And Chuck, am I wrong? But when I say the way the city works, it seems like the city is kind of working right now. They're actually doing stuff that a lot of us have been waiting for, like keeping the streets clean, filling potholes, removing graffiti. What's gotten into them?
Well, Larry and Julie, good morning. When the mayor was first elected, which was in 2014, she began to serve in 2015, she did all these photo ops. I recall within a couple of months of being in office, they actually painted a pavement tamper gold. And she went out to a street in Northeast D.C. and tamped a freshly repaired pothole for the cameras. And later, she wielded a golden sledgehammer when they were doing some demolition to repair a wall somewhere. And those photo ops were frequent and regular throughout her first year in office. But I'd drive around the city and I'd see the potholes and I'd see things in need of repair and fountains that were dry. And it occurred to me that this was all just a dog and pony show. And sure, some potholes get filled, and sure, some things get built and repaired. I mean, it does have to happen, but it hasn't happened as robustly in the decade that she's been in office until the president said, hey, clean up your act. So that's what's going on. Yeah. This is a direct response to not just the executive order, but to the campaign statements that Donald Trump made, and to all of the public statements that he's made as president saying, D.C., you need to clean up your act, not just crime, but simple things like filling potholes and scrubbing graffiti and getting your fountains to work.
Yeah. Chuck, I drive to the studio from Alexandria, Virginia, so I go through the city and I go up Rock Creek and often go through Georgetown sometimes. Incredible tent cities all over the Georgetown area, throughout Rock Creek, up into Northwest D.C. You see them everywhere. You see them also close to the Capitol building and even on sort of these traffic islands. Someone will, put a tent up. I have not seen them. And I'm just wondering, what has the city done to clean up that problem? Are homeless centers involved? I'm just wondering, where are these people going when they clean out a tent city, which I think they should have done. I think it's cruel to have people living this way. But I'm wondering, what programs are they using to help these people?
So the basic procedure, and it varies depending on the size and scope as well as the occupants of the tent cities, but the basic procedure is that staff from Human Services come out along with MPD just for safety, because some of these people can be dangerous because there's mental illness and drugs involved. Not all the time, but typically. So someone from Human Services and MPD comes out, and they let people know that the encampment is illegal and that it's going to be cleared. I think it's 48 hours. And they also provide people information about finding temporary housing, and they offer to assist with finding temporary housing, or in some cases, medical support and the other type of services that you would expect the government to be able to provide for people. And then on the day of the move out, if you will, the personal artifacts of individuals are preserved if they seemingly have value, and people are given the opportunity to be moved to temporary shelters. While at those temporary shelters, there is an application process for permanent housing, depending on the individuals. So there's plenty of support for everyone that is displaced. Unfortunately, the majority of people, and by majority, it's probably in the neighborhood of 90% of the people, reject those offers and just leave. And obviously, they remain homeless, and they establish a residence, a tent camp elsewhere. So it is a bit of a shell game.
Right, but
they go to California.
But really quickly, Chuck, these are not new services. They could have done this earlier. This isn't something new.
Right, that was my question. All this graffiti removal and potholes and cleaning up the streets, that's money that's already allocated. What have these people been doing?
Why weren't they deploying these services?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. These are basic government services, And these things like clearing tent encampments, but scrubbing graffiti and filling potholes and other basic services were ignored, or they were done at the bare minimum. Politically in D.C., for some reason, there's a political liability to removing a tent encampment. I don't understand why, but literally there are elected officials, there are D.C. council members who have gone out to those encampments and done everything but stand in front of the bulldozers and protested. And I just don't understand why a government official would be supporting this type of living arrangement. I do understand, and I do entirely support the government being involved to help people get the support that they need and housing. But living on the street, it's not just a danger to the people who are in the encampments. It's a public health hazard, and at times it's a public safety hazard because mental illness and drug addiction, and worse, the combination of the two that goes untreated often results in violence.
Chuck Thies, we got to leave it there. But it's great to see this. It's great to see the improvement. It's great to see the D.C. Council or the D.C. government is actually doing their job. Someone should really look into what all of these people have been doing in the meantime, because we've certainly been paying our taxes under the guise of keeping our streets clean and safe and graffiti free. And
well, I got a big long list of things that haven't gotten done and still aren't being done. So, if the president is listening, he has my number.
Excellent. He is.